I suppose through that we started playing a bit more Arabic style music, because if you look at the music of medieval Spain, for example, you know, it's got a lot of Arab influence in it because the Arabs being there for such a long time. And so we started listening to a lot of Arab and Turkish music, and through that we got these tours to the Middle East, and I became more interested in the Arabic music.
Wow. And then sort of later on, I mean, much sort of coming up to date, you were in Belo Head for a while. I mean, how did that materialise? Were you sort of there in the early stages? I mean, what occurred there?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it came out of kind of the pub sessions in Oxford, really, at the Half Moon. That John Spires and John Bowden, obviously playing regularly down there and forming a duo, and myself being amongst others, Paul Sartin and various others. That became a kind of core of the idea of it, I think. It was kind of John Bowden's idea, but we were all around there, and so he kind of suggested it to us, and we went with it, and the rest is history.
Right, excellent. And this album, the Armchair Orienteer, I do know, but it was a long time in the baking.
Yes.
and you know, your first sort of solo album. Yeah, I mean, is this like a collection of your sort of musical heritage almost?
I guess it is. I mean, I'm not sure if I kind of consciously particularly was thinking of that, but I just started kind of writing tunes, and those were kind of things that came out, I suppose, just because they're idioms that I'm familiar with. And of course, as soon as I'd started straying away from, say, just British music and doing something a bit quirky, Eastern European or something, then I had to actually try and balance those things out. So so the shape of the album started to come into place as I was working. I was thinking, oh well, I have to have maybe a few more kind of Eastern European or something Arabic in there, just to make it a bit more cohesive.
Well, I just haven't got to ask this question. Kerry Passport.
Yeah.
It says on the sleeve, it says written after a walking holiday on the west coast of Ireland, during which, according to a particular precise police statement, I lost my passport. So what happened?
Well, to be honest, I think it was probably nicked. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
It was
Okay.
We were walking in. We were staying in Tralee, and it was one of those classic things where somebody sets off the fire alarm, or the fire alarm goes off, and a couple of people came down a little bit later than the others.
Oh, okay.
And I suspect, and then next time I looked, which of course wasn't immediately, my passport had gone. Okay. But I mean, it's unlikely to have.
I thought it might have been another drinking session.
No, although I did have a. Yeah. No.
Okay.
That's another story.
And, I mean, just all the tracks. I mean, there's great titles. And Antioch Calf. They said this was written for a production of Ben Hur at Battersea Arts Centre. So. Yeah.
Well, there was a production that, again, there's a connection because the director was Carl Heap, who used to direct the medieval plays, and he has these kind of mad projects of doing very kind of ambitious things I suppose through the medieval plays, doing things with very spare amounts of furniture and stuff, of scenery and props. So he decided to put on this Ben Hur production, and there's one scene in Antioch, obviously, and it's actually written for a piano originally, just a kind of scene setting. But I thought it might kind of transfer nicely.
So I mean, you were just asked to write the piece for the production.
Yeah, I did basically do the music for it.
Excellent. And have you been writing for other sort of productions, or I mean, I always think that your music lends itself to, you know, TV in some areas. Have you ever been asked to write anything specifically?
I've not done TV. I've done a few theatre things. I think TV is a different kettle of fish altogether, because you need to. I mean, it's a kind of. I haven't really kind of pursued that line because of I think it's quite stressful for stuff. But I have done kind of library production music, which is something that can.
He says you were very influenced by recordings of Jewish musicians for one of the tracks on your album. Can you elaborate on that a little?
Well, I've got some recordings of old klezmer players who emigrated to the States, like in the 20s and 30s, and that was good that they did, because of course then the Americans were kind of doing all these recordings, and so lots of it is preserved for posterity, luckily. But it's those old kind of recordings really that you know I loved. It's just the whole style of and the sound, the feel of the playing, and just the sound there is, and the whole thing of the kind of emigration. There's something in the sound of the music that's kind of that kind of plaintiveness.
Okay, and there's also the track which I'm not going to be able to pronounce, the Fogil Nach.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and there's a great little story with that, with you not quite knowing what the words were. Travelling on a train, was it? Can you tell us the story about that?
Yes. Well, I playing this. I had played this piece with. We did it in some concerts with Maddie Pryor, and in fact I was coming back on the train from one of her gigs, and I'd had a slightly stressful journey, as you often do on the train with lots of instruments, but I was sitting in there, you know, what they call the vestibule, I think, although I don't know whether you hang your coat in there at all anymore, but I was sitting there with a lot of luggage, and this chap got on and noticed, I think, that I had something rather strangely shaped, which happened to be the Arabic oud, and so we got chatting, and I ended up saying, "Oh, do you know this song? I've been trying to find what is it. Do you know the song, fucking Nachman?" And he went, "Oh yes, I know this song. This is an Iraqi song." So he was singing the words away to me, and I said, "Oh, that's great. This is great." And I said, "What's it about?" And he kind of started to give me a vague idea. And then the train pulled into the station, and he said, "Sorry, I have to get out now." And I was like, "But please, just the last sentence."
Right.
But
and then what happened then?
Well, I had to complete the translation, I suppose, with the taxi driver that, in fact, brought me to these premises, John, went for a rehearsal, and I got chatting to him, and he gave me the rest of the translation, along with a CD of his favourite music, which is really nice stuff as well. So,
excellent, excellent. Well, hopefully you're going to play us a couple of tunes from the new album.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming in to see us.
Thank you.